Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our monthly Hirschs Wellness webinar. Super excited to have you all with us here this evening, talking about the topic of vitamin N. So vitamin nature is the ultimate supplement for the mind, body, and soul. So just like how we need vitamins and minerals to stay physically healthy, connecting with nature is essential for our overall well-being. So when you're out there amidst the trees, the breeze, and the open sky, you're nourishing yourself in ways that go beyond just the physical. So nature has a remarkable ability to rejuvenate, inspire, and heal. It offers a break from the hustle and bustle of daily life, allowing us to recharge and find clarity. So whether it's a stroll in the park, a hike in the mountains, or simply sitting by a tranquil lake, these moments in nature can bring us peace, perspective, and a sense of connection to something greater than ourselves. So you're probably wondering, where on earth is Margaret? Well, today she is on a ship in the Antarctic, ticking off one of her amazing bucket list adventures. She so badly wanted to be here this evening. She sent her apologies, but she has recorded a special little video for you, which I'm going to play very quickly.
Hi everyone, this is Margaret Hirsch at home with Hirschs, and thank you for joining us tonight for our wellness talk on vitamin N, which is nature, and it's so true. And what better place to be than here in the amazing Antarctica, looking at these huge icebergs. Isn't this just fantastic? Yesterday we were walking on the snow, dipped our feet in the water, well, with boots on because it's freezing cold. But what a wonderful place to be, and what a wonderful place to be sending you the story on vitamin N. Sorry I can't be with you today. Our internet connection here is not good. But I'm sending you this video in the hope that you will take the plunge and literally go out. We're going to do the Arctic plunge tomorrow. Unfortunately, not in the sea. They won't let us do it in the sea, but we're going to do it in the pool here. They've got an ice pool, a medium pool, and a hot pool. So we're going to give that a try. So just try all these different things. But if you can get out, travel broadens the mind. It enhances the spirit, and it makes the soul feel wonderful. So here from Antarctica, I'm wishing you all a wonderful evening this evening, and hope you thoroughly enjoy it. Thank you.
Going to show you a few pictures quickly. So how amazing is that? Margaret is literally out there in nature, ticking off her bucket list. Such a good example to all of us to follow our dreams and literally get out there in nature. So on that note, I am going to hand over to my co-host, Faye, who's here hosting with me this evening. So Faye, come on in.
Hi, everybody. I'm always so excited for our monthly wellness days. I'm normally watching it in the background, but today I get to speak to all you lovely people. I don't know about you, but these wellness webinars are so informative. They really benefit me in my life. And I've also introduced them now to my family by getting them to watch the recordings in our spare time. And also, all I can say is, wow, how have they transformed and changed our daily lifestyle from just knowing all the fun facts about healthy living, be it your mind, your body. It's just amazing. And yes, Kerry, I'm still on that Alkagizer up till this day that you introduced to us almost 2 years ago on that webinar, and I haven't stopped, and I'm still getting in as much of that delicious water as possible. But today, it's my most favorite topic of all times, and as I absolutely love the outdoors. And I feel it does so much for my skin and my breathing. And I'm so eager to hear all about that vitamin N. And I've actually worn my vitamin nature colors today for the webinar. So yes, I'm so excited. You guys, we would love for you to be as interactive as possible, as we would love to hear your comments and your questions that you might have for Kerry. So let us know in the chat where you're coming in from as well. I'm here in Durban. I know Shane's in Cape Town and Kerry's all the way in New Zealand, and Margaret's going to watch this later. We'll be watching it from the Antarctic. I mean, how amazing is that? So please post those questions or just say hi. We always love to hear from you guys. And so now, with no further ado, I would love to introduce you to our amazing and wonderful coach who has all those secrets to tell us about the special vitamin that we all need. So Kerry, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Faye. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you, thank you. And so awesome to see Margaret right in the middle of nature and just enjoying, you know, can you imagine, like we're watching those pictures of her, but can you just feel like the breathing in that she's going to be doing, the air that she's going to be breathing in? You know, it's nice and cold and crisp, but also just the minerals in that water that is surrounding her. And I think this is why it's so important to understand that more than ever, more than anything, we need vitamin N. We need the vitamin nature. Vitamin N and vitamin nature is really what we need to enhance all areas of our wellness. And we need to make sure that we actually put time aside to actually make sure that we're in nature. Now, vitamin N and vitamin nature, there was a book written by a chap called Richard Lowe. So he calls it the nature principle. So if you ever looking to find out any more information, there is actually even a book about this. It's not something that we just made up today. It really is. There's so many people that have actually put the scientific evidence in place to show us how important it is to really be in nature and to be in nature on a regular basis. You know, when you think about our ancestors would live in nature. They lived under the stars. You know, they lived around campfires. They lived bare feet walking. And I find that it was actually only, believe it or not, in the 1970s that we came out with shoes that didn't have leather soles. Because before that, our shoes had leather soles. And the leather was able to conduct the energy of the earth back into us, and we were able to still be connected to the earth. So we've been disconnected by a lot of our plastic soles that we have in our shoes. And so when we disconnected, we can't be recharged. And that's why we've actually got to make sure that we take time out and go and sit in a garden, or sit next to the beach, or go and sit next to a tree, or go and be somewhere where there is a different frequency and a different energy about. How many of you, and just write yes in the chat, how many of you feel that nature changes your emotional energy? Like, how many of you feel better after you've been in nature? And I know for me, there we go. Yes. How many of you feel better when you've been in nature? So many people I speak to, because I'm a big one, I feel the ocean heals. That's my healer, is the ocean. And that's why I'm wearing blue today, because I'm part of the ocean. So the ocean has always been a healer for me, an absolute healer for me. And I've always wanted to live by the ocean, which I've been fortunate enough to always do. Live by the ocean, live by the sea. You look at the ocean, look at the sea. And it really is, there we go. Shane, nothing like walking on the promenade. Absolutely. Walk on the promenade. Those that live in Durban, you know, you've got those beautiful promenades as well. Cape Town's got those promenades. It's just beautiful to walk along there. You come back and you feel better. It's like, oh, I feel better. So many people have said to me, a day at the beach, after they've gone to a day at the beach, how amazing do they feel after a day at the beach? Why? Because you've got those different types of vitamins and minerals that we are exposed to that is so natural for our bodies, and it fills our system up. It fills us up. So whether we actually in the sea, swimming in the minerals of the sea, whether we're breathing in the sea air, if we breathe in that sea breeze, it's going in, we're absorbing it. If our feet are in the sand, we've got our feet in the minerals in the sand. If our feet are on the grass, or we're walking in a trail somewhere in the bush. Yes, Faye, you saying, you know, swap the gym for a day at the beach. It really does amazing. It really does amazing for us, just having our bare feet on the ground. So the term that a lot of people use is called grounding. They ground themselves when they've got their bare feet on the earth. And what it does, it actually connects to the electrical magnetic field of the earth. We've got our own electrical magnetic field. Our brain is very much so made of electrical firing and wiring. That's how our brain sends the frequency and the thoughts out there. Our heart is magnetic. So our magnetic heart is how we feel. We attract what we feel, and the earth has got electrical magnetic fields around it. So that's one. Shada has just said there, I love watching the dolphins travel. There has been so many dolphins over this last season. There's so many people that have been sending me pictures of dolphins and whales around Durban. So it's amazing. How good does it make you feel? Thank you, Shada, for saying that. It makes us feel so good when we actually, when we're watching them and we see them playing. And so it really is so phenomenally good. But grounding is being scientifically proven to be able to balance our body and recharge us. That's what we're doing. It actually recharges us. So by being bare feet on the ground, it's probably the best type of recharging we could ever ask for. And as I said, we've cut that off with the plastic soles on our shoes. So if you can still find any shoes with leather soles, those are the ones you buy. Those are the ones you buy, because then you know that you can still be connected whilst you are walking on this earth. So if you think about having a bad day and your energy is a little bit low and you're feeling a little bit low, I honestly want to encourage you to take your shoes off and go and walk in nature. Really walk in nature. Years ago, I had this TV show in South Africa called Earthbeat, and I would go around and interview a whole lot of people about sustainable living. How can we create sustainable lifestyles? And the one chap that I interviewed was from Aranyasig Organic Market in Cape Town, and he was the gardener there. And a couple of years beforehand, he had been retrenched from his job. He was a welder, and he couldn't find work. He really couldn't find work. And what happened is he saw this volunteer position open and available, and he thought, well, I'm not working, I might as well volunteer in this garden. He knew nothing about gardening. He knew nothing about growing fruits and veg. He just knew nothing. But he said, I'm going to just go and volunteer. And when I interviewed him, I said to him, I see that you bare feet. He said, when I was retrenched, I went into such a deep depression because I couldn't feed my family. It really weighed so heavy on me. He said, but I would come to this garden, I'd take my shoes and socks off, I'd walk in the garden, I'd then start with my hands, I put my hands into the soil, I would plant everything that was happening, and I would see it growing. I would feel, how the soil felt to my feet. And it was just so uplifting. He says, every day that I went home after being in the garden for the day, I felt better. I felt better. And he said, when I was there, when I consciously made the connection between being in the nature and being in the soil with my bare feet, he said, I felt like the depression was actually coming out of my body and going into the earth. Like the earth was taking the depression out of me, and I was being recharged with more positivity. And that's exactly what happens. It really is what happens. When you're feeling down, when your emotions are feeling down, take your shoes and socks off and go and stand in nature. Walk on the beach, walk in the mountains, be somewhere where nature can actually refill you, because that's exactly what's going to be able to help you. So Antonetta said, so good, I agree. Yes, I swapped the gym for the beach. Yay. I live in Sharkers Rock and I walk on the road onto the beach. Feet on the sand and in the water, indescribable, incomparable with what a privilege, soul refreshing. Oh, Antoinette, 100% with you on that. It's soul refreshing. I love what you've said there. It's soul refreshing. It's soul refreshing. That is just, it just makes so much sense. So what a privilege. And honestly, walking and doing some really nice fast walking is so good for you. It's so healthy for you. So Shada, my heels become so relaxed and soothed after a walk on the breaking waves. Yeah, feel like a lot of us have very hard heels. Our heels are really hard. And so if we find that we're massaging our feet on the sand after you've taken a walk right on the water's edge, it really is, it massages your feet and your feet become a lot more it's a lot more healed. We shouldn't actually have these hard heels. And that is, yeah, nature's, Antoinette, you said, it's a natural pedicure, an absolutely natural pedicure. I'm loving this, guys. So well done in recognizing how much goodness nature can do. Now, I want to stretch that just a little bit, because we know that nature actually heals. It heals, without a doubt. It heals our spirit, it heals us emotionally, it heals us mentally. We can change our mood swings, we can change how we feel about things, it feeds our soul. So we actually are aware of it. Are we doing it? Are we doing it? So I want you to be more aware of it, and I want you to be able to take more time out to be able to do this. So if you're having a tough day, stop on the beach for half an hour before you get home, so that you recharge you, so that you go home a complete happy person. If you wake up in the morning and you feel like you've woken up on the wrong side of the bed, like you say, oh my gosh, I've woken up on the wrong side of the bed. Stop by in a park or on the beach before you get to work, and just spend a few moments breathing in the fresh air, breathing in, just I'm in nature and I'm here and I'm breathing this all in. So just take this little bit of time out. If you are sitting behind your desk all day, is there an opportunity anywhere where you can look out of a window and see a tree? I often say this to people that have a lot of visual fatigue because they're working on the computer all day. If they're working on the computer all day, is there an opportunity you can look out of the window and just connect with a tree, connect with some leaves, connect with something that's nature? Or if you've got plants in the office, connect with the plant. Just look at the plant. There's something about looking into nature that helps your eyes, and it helps relax your eyes if you're sitting in front of a computer all day. So really, really, really important. So Faye, you said, so instead of working at my desk at home, I'm going to try and work on the patio, absolutely, the patio, the veranda for a few hours. This is especially for people that work remotely, 100%. If you work remotely, just take 2 minutes out. Go sit in that garden for 2 minutes. You will find that you will be more productive. You will be so much more productive if you take these little breaks away from the screen, just recharging, looking into nature, just really looking into nature. So I just want to take it to the next step, and I want to go, what is also natural that can also heal? Antoinette got to do this barefoot, feel the soil of Mother Earth. Mother Earth is healing. Mother Earth it's called Earth Mother for a reason. It was nicknamed, the earth was nicknamed the mother for a reason. It heals us, it recharges us, it births a lot of the trees and a lot of our food. And so Mother Earth is nurturing. It gives us everything that we need in our life. The trees give us oxygen. The rivers that are running on this earth give us our water. The plants that are grown on this earth give us our food. We cannot live without Mother Earth. And we need to remember that everything in Mother Earth is about getting us back to a healing state, giving us our energy back, giving us our food sources, getting us really back to us being in nature. There's nothing better than going for a swim in a natural pool of water. So not our swimming pools with chemicals in it, but actually going in the sea, going in the rivers, going in the lakes. There is something about being in nature that is actually just refreshing us, recharging us. So use what Mother Earth has given us. Really use what Mother Earth has given us in order to put ourselves back into balance. We are natural beings. We are natural. Our body is natural. We are natural beings. So where do we feel good? We feel good in nature. We feel good when we're eating natural foods. We feel good when we've got living foods going into this living body of ours. So if you think about the foods, the natural foods that Mother Earth produces for us, it has a vibration. The food has a vibration. It's living. It's a living food. We put the living food into this living body that we have a vibration. We're alive. We're alive. My sister is actually studied to be a death doula, and she helps people transition through those times. And she often says to me, just before somebody passes over, you will see that their light is gone. They'll open their mouths and there's no light. There's no light inside. It's all dark. It's dark. Their light is gone. their frequency is gone, their vibration has gone. And that's moment before they transition. So we are energy beings. We are light beings. When we're alive, we are full of light. Now, if we want to stay alive, we need to eat more foods that are alive and that feed that energy and that light inside us. So if we're eating lots of fruits and veggies, we're going to be more alive, more alive. So Shada, you've said, my hobbies include filling the bird bath and enjoying the different chirps while I steal my beautiful view of them fluffing their figures. I love that, Shada. I absolutely love that. Isn't it amazing to see animals in nature? Now, you guys in Africa are so blessed, like so blessed. You absolutely see nature at its best. You get to witness, you know, animals being born. You get to witness the life cycles of animals. It's such a privilege. It's such a privilege. When I see, I mean, we've got a lot of birds here in New Zealand, but it doesn't, we've got dolphins as well. I see dolphins as well, but it doesn't compare with the wildlife that you see in Africa. It really does not compare. You are at the pinnacle of the energy of the animals, and there's something healing about that, something so healing about that. So I am bringing a few very special people to South Africa first week in April to do a nature retreat, to really immerse ourselves in nature, in a safari, in a game lodge, to really feel that the energy that the African bush has, the healing energy that the African bush has, and to really restore your soul and to bring you back into a rhythm of your own life, to really fill you up, recharge you, get you back to what is you on purpose. And so I do want to mention that, yeah, it's a really small, intimate group, but we've got one seat left for somebody special. So if you feel like you want to be called into nature and do a specific processes in a retreat where you get to really tune into more of yourself and more of nature, but also more of a connection to the creator, then you can contact me and we'll just go through a little question and answers just to see whether you suit. But we've got one space left for a very special person to join us in this retreat right in nature, and it's taking place first week in April. But what I wanted to mention is that animals also heal. Animals heal. So if you cannot get into the bush and you cannot get into the wildlife, then you know that you've got your dogs and your cats and you've got your pets. And how amazing do your pets change your moods? How amazing is that? Cats are known, they are attracted to people that need emotional support. So if your cat comes and sits on your lap, all it's doing, it's giving you love and it's calming your adrenals. Cats are known to calm the stress levels, calm the adrenals. So when the cat comes and sits on your lap and you pat a cat, that calming effect is there for a reason. It's there for a reason. The cat has been attracted to you for a reason. I know a lot of people go, cats are attracted to me because I'm allergic to them. I'm allergic to them. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to balance you. They're really trying to balance you. So for many years in my 20s, I had cats growing up. And then all of a sudden in my 20s, I went through a huge, my whole health was totally, yeah, that was probably my biggest learning curve with my health. There were so many things that went wrong with me. And I became highly, highly, highly allergic to cats, like highly allergic to cats. I would walk into a house without seeing the cat. My eyes would swell up, my nose would stream. I would be like so allergic to cats. And I would say to everybody, I'm so sorry, I'm allergic to cats. I'm so sorry, but my eyes, my nose, everything would be so affected. Until I was in Umhlanga and I was living in this like complex. And one person in this complex was looking after the stray cat and feeding the stray cat. And then they had to move. and they saw that I had small kids, and they said, please, will you carry on feeding the cat? Just feed the cat down there in the garden. That was the shared garden. Just feed the cat down there, because it's a stray cat, and this cat's not going to get any food that comes from anywhere. So I said, okay, I don't mind. And I said to this person, I'm allergic to cats, but I'm quite happy with feeding the cat in the corner of the garden. So we did that. And then I felt sorry for this cat, and I bought this cat a little cat house, and I put it next to our front door, and I put little blankets in it for winter time and little cushions in it, and it had a little cat flap into it. So this little cat house had the cat flap, and I put the food right outside this little cat house, and this little cat could come and be sheltered in the winter time. And then we moved into a separate house with a separate, we weren't part of a complex. We moved into a house. And my heart sank, because I thought, how am I going to leave this cat? I've now been feeding this cat for a couple of years. How am I going to leave this cat? Well, the cat's going to have to come with us, even though I'm allergic. I'm going, okay, we're moving into a house. It's got a big enough garden. We'll just make sure that the cat is out in the garden. Well, from the time we moved into this house, the cat lived inside. It didn't go into the garden. It was like, no. I've now got a bed that I can sleep on inside the house. And what actually happened is this cat ended up sleeping on my side of the bed, and it eventually moved its way up to sleeping right here next to me, right next to my head. And I no longer was allergic to cats. And so I said to this cat, you obviously belong to this family. You've helped me heal. I'm no longer allergic to cats. And I'll tell you right now, this cat traveled to New Zealand with us. There was no ways I could leave this cat behind. So this cat, even last night, slept right here next to my head. She still does. And she still knows when I've had a tough day, she'll come and she'll sit on my lap, and I will pet this cat. And I have no allergies. I have absolutely no allergies to this cat. This cat healed me from my cat allergies. And I can walk into anybody's home with cats now, and any of their cats can sit on my lap, and I'm actually happy with it. So allow the animals to do your healing. Absolutely allow the animals to do your healing. Do you know that dogs are here just to give you unconditional love? That's all a dog wants to do, is give you unconditional love. The dog just wants to love. It just wants to love. If the dog never has a bad day, the dog never actually comes to you and is, moping around. Dogs don't mope around. Dogs don't get angry. Dogs don't get frustrated. Dogs don't do any of that. The dog just wants to be loved and show you love. That's all a dog wants to do. It just wants to show you unconditional love, no matter what happens. And they say a best man's friend is his dog. And it's so true for so many people, is a dog is a natural being, and it just wants to show you unconditional love. So for any one of you that have animals and pets, just know that they're there just to share unconditional love with you. Absolutely unconditional love. So I'd love to hear in the chat who has a pet and who feels better after patting the pet, loving the pet, and feeling good about the pet. So I also want to just say, Shada, the Rain Farm Game Reserve is my spot. I know the Rain Farm Game Reserve so well. My kids had some birthday parties there. It's an amazing, amazing spot. So absolutely, well done, well done. Cool.
Carrie, I just wanted to add in there, there's nothing like the feeling of, like, after a long day coming home, and no matter how you've left the dogs at home, they scream with excitement. They're so excited to see you. There's absolutely nothing like that feeling. But I just wanted to ask you another question. What do you think, like in this new digital world age that we're in, we all spend so much time on our phones, like often like after work, and it's so easy just to like go on your phone and watch Instagram Reels and TikToks, rather than go for a walk. How do you think that's affected the way we interact with nature? And what do you think we can do to get ourselves off our screens and more into nature?
Yeah, Shane, it's such a good question. It really is such a good question, because think about the kids growing up. So as adults, we had some nature around when we were growing up. We used to play outdoors. We used to play in the game, in the gardens. So we did have some exposure to absolutely, playing in gardens. I mean, I remember growing up at making mud pies, and playing in the mud and playing in the soil. Nowadays, how many children have actually put their hands in the soil? Because their hands are on the screens all the time and they're watching TV, and I see it over and over and over again. I truly believe this is why we have a sick world today. We actually have a lot of illnesses going on in our bodies and our systems that can definitely be healed if we spent more time in nature. I see it with the children over and over again. Do you know that energetically, think about the energy of every cell in your body? All right. So if we are well and we are healthy, we have a lot of energy. That's like a child. A child is bouncing off the walls. And when children first learn to walk and first learn to move their bodies, they move a lot. They move a lot. And we always, pulling them off things, and they're climbing up stuff, and we're pulling. Children naturally move a lot because the energy in their cells are healthy. They're healthy. Children should be let to go and play and move and climb trees and swim and do all of that stuff. But what do? We want to keep them quiet. We want to keep them quiet. We put them in front of the TV. We give them a phone at the age of 4 years old. Like, I'm blown away. I'm absolutely blown away. We give them devices to play on. We give them computer games. So all they know is they're sitting in front of these computer games, and they've been numbed from that energy within their bodies that comes alive when they're in nature. If you put any child back on the beach or back into a garden, you will see them. You will see them come alive again. They'll absolutely come alive. And it sometimes takes a while. It sometimes takes a while. So I'm really friendly with a young woman here who's a single mom. So unfortunately, the dad is in Europe, and she's brought up this child on her own. And this child is about 3-4 years old at the moment. And when I see this child in a huge garden, the child doesn't run automatically and play in the garden. The child does run and play on the beaches, but a garden is not something that this child has been exposed to on a regular basis, because they don't live with the garden. They live inside an apartment. And so the apartment is there. The toys are the TV and the computer games. That's what the toys are. It's a TV and a computer game. So when this little one came to visit, and I've got a huge garden. I've got a huge garden on purpose because I've got dogs and I want them to run and I want us to garden. I want to grow my own veggies, which I've got my veggie patch, my herb patch. So I've got a big garden. When they come to play, I'm in my garden. And what does this little one want to do? Want to go upstairs and watch TV. We've got to retrain our children of how to be in nature. We've got to retrain them. Because when they're sitting in front of that TV, it's dumbing them down, it's numbing them to be aware and conscious, of feeling into their bodies, feeling into what is good for them and what is not good for them, what works for them, what doesn't work for them. We get messages through our body and through calming our bodies down and be more aware and conscious of our actions. When we're sitting in front and we just automatically, seeing this screens move, lots of bright lights, it switches those messages off. We don't hear those messages as we used to.
I also read that walks in nature linked to improved cognitive function. It helps with creativity. There's so many benefits that nature does give to us. Can you touch on that, how it improves our cognitive function, things like creativity, problem-solving skills, and stuff like that?
If you think about the leaf on a tree. Think about the leaf on the tree. Now, if you stare at that leaf on the tree, look at how that leaf has got the veins. It's got veins in it. The same with the bark. Look at the bark on a tree. Now, the bark on the tree, feel that bark. It's hard. It really is hard. The leaves, they're soft. and they've got a different feel, they've got a different look, they're a different color. The leaves are green, the bark is brown, different shades of brown, different shades of greens. Now, when we're in nature, we naturally get drawn to the blade of grass that is different to the leaf, the flower that is so colorful. The flower, I mean, I saw yesterday, it was so beautiful. I saw this plant, it was just growing in this garden. I said, oh, that looks like a fairy flowers. I was describing it as fairy flowers. And just, you look at the different shapes of the different flowers. These are the things that kids should be taught. They should be taught around nature and what nature has to offer. Instead, they go into a classroom and they go onto their iPads and they go onto their screens and they go, that's the color green and that's the color brown. And they don't see the multiple colors and the multiple dimensions of the greens in the different leaves and the multiple dimensions of the browns in the different bark that is on the trees. And then the different feelings around this. So when kids have not been brought up with all of this different shading and the different, different feelings and the different textures around it all, they get shown one way is one way and the other way is the other way. And they get more like this is black and this is white. And I'm going, no. There's 100 shades of gray in between all of that. And so when we get to deal with life, they make decisions black or white. No. There's 100 different stories in between that could possibly be another outcome. It could possibly be another way of looking at life. So we don't have to just be in the one story or be with the one color. There's different things that actually happen. So I feel children that are exposed to a lot more of nature instead of actually just being shown things on a computer screen, they get to be integrated into life in a more holistic way. And they get to be able to deal with life's challenges in such a beautiful way, because we're always going to be challenged. But when you've seen things black and white, you're not going to be able to realize that there's so many different ways that we can deal with the situation. That there's so many different ways. And what happens now, you get to become a teenager or 19, 20 years old, and you don't know how to deal with these multiple different ways, and you collapse into depression. And I don't think there's a time on earth more than now that has had so many teenage suicides than what there is right now. And I truly feel it's because the kids are not being exposed to a holistic way of living. And holistic way of living is to have children with a balance in nature. Yes, the world is changing and kids are being brought up with iPads and televisions and cell phones. But you've got to have a balance, in my opinion. There needs to be a balance between what they're being exposed to. Because when they go to school nowadays, the kids are getting, they're getting taught on computers. When I was at school, I didn't have a calculator. Now I'm really showing my age. Like, we counted all the way up to mid. I didn't have a calculator. Like, we had to learn the times table without a calculator. Now, when I switch my brain on and I'm playing a game of cards with my family, I'm calculating. I'm not like calculating. It's like there's so much more of your brain function that you can use if you're exposed to so much more in nature. That's exactly what it is. There's so much more thinking that you can do. There's so much more stories that you are able to tell yourself. It's not just like, I have to live that way, and if I don't live that way, then I'm not living the right way. There's multi-dimensional right ways to live. There's so many different paths that you can take, and people are going to be challenged. They are going to be challenged. How do you deal with those challenges? How do you deal with those challenges? If you're able to deal with those challenges more comprehensively, you're going to be able to come through them with more joy and happiness instead of the anger, the frustration. So those emotions that are low, and I know we've spoken about this before, the low emotions bring our whole energy down, whereas the joyful, happy emotions pick us up. When we're in nature, we feel more joyful and happy. So it's definitely about being in nature, but being more conscious and aware when we are in nature. The more conscious and aware that we are of the textures of nature, of what nature can actually feed us. That is now the healing properties that we actually are. Think about the different pets you have, and think about the different touch of the furs that you have. Some people have birds as pets, so feel the feathers, feel how a cat feels, feel the different textures of the different types of dogs that are around there. And then think about the animals in nature, the porcupines, the quills from that, there's different textures and natures for different reasons. And it's so that we can learn more and more. Yeah.
I also read that trees have this natural chemical that is released that has immune boosting benefits. Would you be able to touch on that and tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah. Do you know that trees have multiple amount of chemicals, not just one chemical? Trees produce so many different chemicals. Yes, they produce oxygen, but they also produce so many different other types of chemicals. So when you think about, well, if any of you that have been into the bush will actually resonate with this. The acacia trees, when the giraffes come and eat off the acacia trees, they send a chemical message to all the trees further down. The giraffes are coming, they're eating off my leaves, And the leaves of the acacia trees further down the path change the chemical composition of their leaves so that they become so bitter that the giraffes don't eat them. And it's a way that they survive. It's the way that those leaves survive. So the giraffes move on to a whole nother patch in a whole nother area, and then they'll come back to this patch when there are more leaves grown. So trees are absolutely phenomenal when it comes to being able to survive, when it comes to our survival, and when it comes to the chemical composition of their leaves and how they change and how they actually communicate with one another. Now, the leaves communicate, but the roots also communicate. So I'm so pleased that you brought up trees, Shane, because when you think about the network of roots under the soil, everything is connected. Everything is connected. And they all are communicating with them through the roots and through the leaves. When you see that there are so many different types of trees in nature, but they're right next to each other. That's because each one of them have got a different chemical composition that complement each other and complement ourselves. They complement us. So it's the chemicals that are on the trees that are there that will boost our immune systems, but not just boost our immune systems, balance our emotions and actually allow more oxygen to come into our systems. So trees are there for multiple reasons. And the more trees you can have in your garden, the better you're going to feel. The more combination of trees that you have in your garden, the better that you're going to feel. Because you're having a different combination of root systems, and you've got a different combination of the chemical compounds of the trees in your garden. And you will feel that you will smell different smells off the different leaves. It's not just the flowers that have got smells, it's the leaves that have got smells. And that's why when you've got a herb garden, that's why I love my herb garden. I take my herb, the leaves of the herbs, and I just squish my fingers like that. I don't pick all of them. I'll squish them like this, and I'll smell my fingers. And oh my God, the mint, and then the basil, and then the coriander. And then it's just so amazing. I have to just share with you as well. On Sunday, I went to a Thai temple. Now, I've got a Thai monk that comes to see me in my clinic, and he's now started just sending so much of the congregation to me, and they speak Thai, and so I don't get to understand a lot of them. But they had a special celebration on Sunday, and they invited me to their celebration. It was the celebration of the full moon. So the full moon is very special to them. You know, the full moon, most of you know, I do water fasting over the full moon. So the full moon for me is really special. So I decided to attend the celebrations at the temple, which had a lot of chanting and a lot of meditation. But then afterwards, the Thai people really do celebrate their love in the form of food. So there was a lot of bringing and sharing. Everybody brings food. So I took a plate of fruit, and we've got to chop it all up. So we've got to prepare it so that people can eat it straight away. So I took a plate of fruit to share, and everybody was sharing. And I cannot tell you, there was this abundance of food, like an abundance of food. But I got really, really like, so like, my soul was fulfilled when everything was finished and we went out into the gardens. And the monks look after the gardens. They look after the trees, they look after the herbs, they look after the fruit trees. They've got this beautiful, beautiful garden. So the monk was walking me around the garden, and I was smelling the leaves on the different trees. And unfortunately, I didn't get the English name, but this specific tree, he said to me, this is a healing tree. This is an absolutely healing tree. Janine, so lovely to see you. I know you've got to go. So lovely to see you. So this healing tree, I smelt the leaves, and immediately the minute I smelt the leaves, I was uplifted, and I thought, oh, that's a good smell. And I asked the name of the tree, but they said it in Thai, and so I didn't know, you know, I didn't get the name of the tree. But the leaves were incredible. The leaves were absolutely incredible, and I just smelt that, wow, that's healing. And there was another monk there that was watering a special tree that they had cordoned off. They had put a little fence around it. And they said that is a healing tree. It comes from Thailand. They specially brought it into New Zealand so that they could grow it here, so that it could actually do more healing. And they said to me, that tree, they know it heals people from heart conditions. It heals people from, you know, all sorts of different ailments. And that for them is a tree. And that is exactly the way we've got to see nature. Nature heals. Nature heals. You guys in South Africa have a bush called Sutherlandia. Sutherlandia only grows in Africa. It doesn't grow anywhere else in the world. And the nickname of Sutherlandia is cancer bush, because that's exactly what it does. It heals from all of those really, really hectic diseases. So this Sutherlandia, for me, if I had a garden in South Africa, I would grow the Sutherlandia bush, because it helps with viruses, it helps with bacteria in our body that we want to get rid of. It's just amazing. And I know Shada has mentioned the moringa leaves and flowers. So good. How many of you cook with bay leaves and basil? It's so good for you guys. It's so good. Eat them fresh. If you can eat leaves off a tree and chew them, mint leaves, how many times have you, had to go, oh, I think I need, a fresher breath. I need some fresh breath. Take a mint leaf and chew the mint leaf, and your breath will be amazing. It'll be amazing, because not only does the mint leaf freshen your breath, but what it's actually doing, it's getting rid of the bad bacteria in your mouth. So it's really about getting rid of the bad bacteria and not the fresh breath. But you get a fresh breath when you get rid of the bad bacteria. So chew the mint leaves. Chew the mint leaves. So whatever leaves that you know about, eat them fresh. Herbs have a very, very high vibration, an incredibly high vibration. So eat those really, really well and as fresh as possible. If there's other ones that you cook with, amazing, absolutely. Or blend. You can blend, make your own basil pesto sauce. Blend the pine nuts and blend the basil leaves and make your own pesto sauces. It's just incredible. So my favorite is celery. So the celery leaves are bitter. Why are they bitter? The more bitter they are, the more gut healing happens. And then obviously the stems are full of this most amazing juice to help the stomach, the gut, and the digestive system. So yeah, Shane, you're now onto a subject that I could talk about forever.
And while you touched on the herbs, I was just thinking, like chewing on herbs and stuff like that. What is your take on like herbal teas? Like, is that, getting sources from nature? Do you think the ones you buy from the shops are just diluted? Can you make your own herbal tea? Can you touch on that?
Absolutely make your own. There's a place here called T2, and T2 actually supplies just all the herbs. So it's got a whole lot of herbs, and you can mix and match your own. But they put this whole kit together called tea alchemy. And it's really because it's all the different types of tea in order to transform your well-being. And it's called tea alchemy. And I thought, oh, that's a brilliant name and brilliant marketing, because that's exactly what it's doing. So herbal teas that come from natural sources, they are so healing. They are so healing. And what I have also found is people that drink more natural herbal teas, they actually get hydrated. They get hydrated. So if people don't drink as much water, but they drink herbal teas, they're going to get hydrated. It's just incredible. I see that the herbal teas get absorbed into the cells. So there's an absorption that happens at cellular level, and herbal teas help that. Now, I just want to put a little caution out there, because the ones that you buy in the shops, you've got to make sure that it's natural. So please, please, please read the ingredients. Read the ingredients. You don't want any of these beautiful fruit herbs to have added sugar to them. There's no need. There's no need for it. So make sure that there's no stevia or dextrose or any of the chemicals that have been made. And stevia is the more natural sugar, so I'm not too concerned about that one. But there are other sugars that are chemically made and put into herbal teas. You don't need that. You can have a berry tea, which is quite sweet on its own, or add a little bit of honey to it. Honey is just amazing for our body, so we want to keep it as natural as possible. There is green teas that have got caffeine in it, or matcha tea that has got caffeine in it. Please avoid that, because caffeine is actually a natural pesticide. So the coffee beans, that's why I know Margaret talks about coming off her coffee as well, which I'm still so proud of her for doing. I'm really, really proud of her for doing that. But it's the caffeine ignites our bodies, and we think, oh, it's giving us more energy, but it's actually our bodies responding to the pesticide in it, and it's trying to get the toxin out of our bodies. It's really trying to get the toxin out. So avoid the green teas that have caffeine in it. There are pure green teas there, so go for that. Or go for your jasmine teas, go for your peppermint teas, go for your chamomile. Dandelion root tea is amazing for the liver. It cleanses the liver. So milk thistle tea cleanses the liver and the gallbladder. So these herbal teas actually help our system, and herbs have got a very high vibration, and this is why out of the herbs, they make essential oils. Essential oils are incredible for our bodies, have such healing properties. Essential oils, high vibration, high vibration. So people get healed with essential oils. You know, the one way my son got chickenpox when he was, I think he was about 9 years old, and it was 2 days before Christmas. 2 days before Christmas. And this particular Christmas, I had cousins that were living in Dubai at the time, and their children were the same age as my children. And he flew into Durban and went to stay with my brother, with their children, and wanted to spend Christmas together. And of course, we were invited to Christmas. We're having this big reunion with all our kids and all our cousins together. And then my son gets chickenpox 2 days before Christmas. And the spots were there, but his body was covered in chickenpox. So what did I do? I took tea tree essential oil, and I put 1 drop of tea tree on my finger, and I put it on a spot. And I put it on a spot, and I put it on a spot. And I did that twice a day. And Christmas Eve, I took a photograph of his body from head to toe, took a little video and a photograph. And I said, can we come for Christmas? There was not one spot on his body, not one spot. It had totally, from the time it burst to the time it had cleared, 2 days because of tea tree oil. Now, tea tree oil is very strong. It's really strong. If you put it onto a cut or a sore, brilliant, but don't put it on too much because it dries the skin out. Tea tree oil is amazing for acne, but you've got to watch how much you use. So it really is, it really is one that dries the skin as well. So just make sure. But tea tree is antiviral, it's antifungal, and it's antibacterial. It's in my first aid kit. It's my first aid kit. Tea tree oil and lavender oil are for me my first aid kit. So Shada, you've also mentioned here, my tea is masala, consists of fennel seeds, cardamom, cloves, black peppercorns, all natural, and is the fast seller in my company. Yay! I'm so excited for that. I am so, so excited for that. Amanda, you've said I mix tea tree oil into castor oil for my hair. No dandruff. Yes, Amanda. Tea tree oil is amazing to get rid of lice, but you've got to mix it. So you mix it with a castor oil or a coconut oil or another type of oil. Absolutely amazing. I am loving this chat and all these ideas. So,
Hey,
so
I can't
we
believe
know.
sorry to interrupt you. I can't believe our time is running out already. We've absolutely loved listening to you. I know this is a bit off topic, but something that you said a few webinars back that stuck with me and is probably going to stick with me forever is you said that sugar is more addictive than drugs. And every now and again, you have that sweet craving. And I'm like, I will tell you what it is. Mine is licorice all sorts. And I would like, I want a bag of licorice all sorts. Then I tell myself, you're an addict. You don't need the licorice all sorts. So your voice is permanently in my head. Sorry, I know that was a bit off topic, but I just had to tell you that. Before we ask Clary to do her parting shot, is there anything you'd like to add, Faye?
Yeah, I would just like to say, Carrie, thank you so much for that. And your word that stays in my brain is that niggle. When you have that niggle to do something, I know you always say that, and I always keep that there. And there's so much of things that sticks in my brain that, we've been through all these webinars. It's so amazing. But just today, it has been so informative. It just makes you want to go out there and just get more involved. And for me, having a teenage son as well, makes me want to just get him out there from out of that iPad, out of that PlayStation games, and just get him more out there. So yeah, I just encourage everyone, if they have the ability to just adopt that pace of nature and just get involved. And like I said in the chat, I read one of these sayings that a walk in nature walks the soul back home, and I felt that so refreshing. It just makes you think about nature. So yeah, thank you so much, Katie, for your time. We always love this time with you. So yeah, that's it from me.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you guys for making sure that people get to hear about this, because it is about bringing us back to, we are natural beings. And how do we enhance this body? How do we increase the energy? And it really is about what are the natural things we can put in and what are the natural things we can surround ourselves with. And that's nature. And that's nature. So being in nature, having more vitamin N in our lives is going to be so important for our healing journey. No matter what journey you are on, our healing journey is being in nature. So whatever you can do, whether it's in your own garden or whether it's at a beach or whether it's on a mountain or whether it's swimming in an ocean or a lake or whether it's climbing a tree, whether it's just staring at the leaves on a plant, just be in nature and enjoy, absorb all the energy that nature gives you. So thank you everybody. Have a beautiful, beautiful month. We see you guys next month.
Thank you so much, Carrie, for your time. Thank you for everyone who joined us on Zoom, on Facebook Live. We look forward to seeing you next month. Bye, everybody.